Massive gas pipeline erupts in Puchong. Israel continues aggression against Palestinians amid Eid celebration. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Renee Fong and you are watching World Today. We begin the story with a breaking local news. The Fire and Rescue Department JBPM is evacuating residents living near the blaze caused by a burst gas pipeline at Jalan Putra Harmony Putra Heights, Subang Jaya, Selangor. Selangor JBPM Operations Assistant Director Ahmad Mukhlis Mukhtar said the fire, which involved a gas pipeline leak with an estimated length of 500 meters, occurred near a public housing area. Elaborating further, Ahmad Mukhlis said they received a distress call regarding the incident at 8:23 a.m. 78 personnel from 9 fire stations from Subang Jaya, Puchong, Shah Alam, Bukit Jelutong, Cyberjaya, Rawang, Klang Selatan, Klang Utara and Damansara have been deployed to the scene. 10 FRT machinery, 4 unit of Emergency Medical Rescue Services EMRS, 5 unit of water tankers, a hazmat team alongside a unit of BA tanker and ALP were also dispatched to the site. The fire has also affected several houses nearby, further increasing the risk to the residents. And so far, firefighters had rescued 7 victims, including 2 Malaysians. However, the exact number of the victims and the extent of the fire spread are still under investigations. The public is advised to not go near the location and to follow the authorities' instruction and to avoid from any safety risk. Meanwhile, Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Shari said a temporary evacuation shelter was opened at Masjid Putra Heights to accommodate the victims. We will continue to bring you the latest update on the situation on RTM. Be sure to stick around. Eid al-Fitr celebrations in Gaza marred by Zionist military violence that have claimed the lives of 41 Gazans in the latest airstrikes targeting residential areas and refugee camps. Witnesses and medics said that Israeli airstrikes targeted homes, a tent shelter and civilian vehicles in Gaza City, Jabalia in the north and Khan Yunis in the south. The regime struck homes in eastern Gaza City as well as the Al-Burij refugee camp in central Gaza. 1 Palestinian was killed and others were wounded. Public transport in Rafah was also targeted, and among them 17 were killed in attacks on homes and refugee tents in Khan Yunis, while 8 others were targeted in central Gaza. In northern Gaza, 2 young girls were killed and several others injured after Israeli fighter jets bombed the Makabel family home in the Jern area of Jabalia. The Israeli army launched a surprise aerial campaign on the Gaza Strip on March 18th, killing over 920 people, injuring more than 2,000 others and shattering the ceasefire and prisoner exchange agreement. Meanwhile, more than 50,250 Palestinians have been killed and over 114,000 injured in a brutal Israeli military onslaught on Gaza since October 2023. Gazans were on the move again in the south of the enclave on Monday, fleeing neighborhoods in and around Rafah after Israel issued new evacuation orders, telling people to relocate to Al-Mawasi, an area on the shoreline. The military's Arabic language spokesperson said in a statement the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, is returning to intense operations to dismantle the capabilities of the terrorist organizations in these areas.
نزحنا المرة الأولى على الشاكوش، بعدين قبل الهجوم على الشاكوش طلعنا على المسلخ، قعدنا 8 شهور بالمسلخ وروحنا إلنا 2 شهرين في البيت، 1.5 شهر مع إنه البيت كمان مدمر، شظايا وفيه والشبابيك رايحة، لكن قلنا الحمد لله أولادنا. هذه البنت مواليد حرب، انولدت في الخيمة، واليوم ولا بيقولوا نزوح لكل رفح. طلعنا كمان بأطفالنا، نص أولادنا مشوا قدامنا ونص مايهم معانا، والله يستر.
The Israeli military, which has cut off aid to Gaza, resumed operations on March 18th after a 2-month truce, during which 33 Israeli and 5 Thai hostages were released in exchange for around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. On another note, Hamas said that it had accepted proposals made by Qatari and Egyptian mediators, which security sources said would entail 5 hostages being released every week in exchange for a truce. Meanwhile, Israeli officials announced on Monday they proposed an extended truce in Gaza in exchange for the return of about half the remaining hostages. On the first day, the Special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team SMART successfully recovered the bodies of 2 victims. The SMART team's operation, which began as early as 9 a.m. on Monday at the first location, a private school, led to the discovery of a female teacher's body. The body was successfully retrieved at 12:45 p.m. local time. Meanwhile, search efforts at a mosque yielded no results. However, at the third location, a shop house, the team managed to recover another victim's body, a 57-year-old man. The victim's body was found trapped on the shop floor at 4:50 p.m. local time. Both bodies were then handed over to local authorities. In a statement, the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, said the search and rescue SAR operation by the team is currently being activated at 3 locations in the district, namely at MOE Gaya Mosque, Nyo Ma Mosque and Nyat Private School, with local residents estimating that 20 victims are still trapped. According to Myanmar's State Administration Council information team on Monday, the death toll from Friday's 7.9 magnitude earthquake in the country has risen to 2,056, with approximately 3,900 people injured and nearly 270 reported missing. International and domestic rescuers have been racing against time to save more lives in the quake-affected areas. The first batch of disaster relief material offered by the Chinese government arrived in Myanmar on Monday. The International Federation of the Red Cross IFRC said Mandalay residents camped on the side of the road on Monday night due to a high number of aftershocks after Friday's massive earthquake that killed more than 2,000 people in Myanmar. Families sat with their children on the sidewalk by the river, some surrounded by their belongings, and the pavement was dotted with tents and mosquito nets. The Regional Director for Asia Pacific at the IFRC, Alexander Macho, said the aid organisation was concerned about extreme heat and minimal access to drinking water, shade or food. He also emphasised the medical service has also been damaged, noting that there is limited access to healthcare. Mandalay is near the epicentre of the 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit on Friday. China, India and Thailand are among Myanmar's neighbours that have sent relief materials and teams, along with aid and personnel from Malaysia, Singapore and Russia. The United Nations said it was rushing relief supplies to survivors in central Myanmar. The United States pledged $2 million in aid through Myanmar-based humanitarian assistance organizations. The quake devastation has piled more misery on Myanmar, already in chaos from the civil war that intensified after the elected government of Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi was ousted by the military. The Malaysian embassy in Bangkok will resume operations today after its building was temporarily sealed by authorities for a safety assessment following strong earthquakes in Myanmar that triggered tremors in Thailand last Friday. Charge of the Affairs ad interim of Malaysia to Thailand, Bong Yik Jui, said the embassy currently occupies the 17th floor of the Kronos office tower on Saton Road, and the whole tower was sealed by authorities on Friday. Bong explained that the Kronos office tower has been fully inspected by certified engineers and confirmed to be structurally sound and safe with no damage. Bong added that the embassy was closed on Monday in conjunction with the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebrations. And last Friday, a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Myanmar's SAHIH region at around 1 p.m. local time, followed by a second tremor measuring 6.4 in magnitude. The earthquake caused tremors in Thailand's capital and has so far claimed 18 lives, while dozens remain missing. United States President Donald Trump said there is ongoing communication with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said in a post on Facebook on Monday, the growing closeness of Malaysia and Pakistan relations has opened up space to explore various new collaborations involving both countries. He made these remarks after receiving phone call from Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Datuk Seri Anwar said in a post, "Thank God, the total Pakistani investment in Malaysia has grown well and now reaches around 397 million US dollars, and he welcomes more new investments, especially in the fields of agriculture, petrochemicals and biomass." The Prime Minister in the same post also announced that he and Shehbaz, who among other things discussed bilateral relations between Malaysia and Pakistan, especially related to investment, trade, education, research, development and the field of science, with both parties agreeing to expedite any outstanding matters to realise the cooperation. They also exchanged views on the developments in Gaza when Israel violated the ceasefire agreement and thwarted peace efforts through violent attacks on the Palestinian people. Meanwhile, in a separate post, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he also received a phone call from Iranian President Dr. Masoud Pezeshkian today, which among other things touched on efforts to strengthen bilateral relations between Malaysia and Iran, as well as exchanging greetings in conjunction with the Aidilfitri celebration. He added the visit of Malaysian Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan to Tehran last month brought positive developments in bilateral relations and cooperation between Malaysia and Iran. In the same Facebook post, the two leaders expressed their commitment to continue strengthening the friendly relations between the two countries, especially by enhancing investment and trade, in addition to expanding cooperation in various potential areas. The Prime Minister also pledged he would ensure the continuity of the visit by expediting and facilitating all efforts to expand cooperation in the fields of investment, trade, education, research and others. And according to Datuk Seri Anwar, in the conversation with Pezeshkian, he also reiterated Malaysia's appreciation for Iran's firm and consistent stance in fighting for the rights and justice for the Palestinian people, in addition to opposing the tyranny of Israel, which is blatantly violating the ceasefire agreement and thwarting peace efforts. United States President Donald Trump stated that there is ongoing communication with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and indicated that his administration is likely to take some action regarding engagement with that country.
I do. I have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. Now, you people hate to hear that, but it's very important. I got along with him fantastically, as you know. It started off very rough, very nasty. Little rocket man, the whole thing was a nasty deal. And then one day we got a call that they'd like to meet. We met. We have a great relationship. And yeah, we have, there is communication, yeah. I think it's very important. You know, he's a big nuclear nation, and he's a very smart guy. I got to know him very well.
On a different note, Donald Trump said he wants to see Russian President Vladimir Putin follow through and make a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Trump expressed his desire to avoid implementing secondary tariffs on purchases of Russian oil, which he had previously threatened to impose, if it is possible to do so.
No, I want to see him make a deal so that we stop Russian soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers and other people from being killed, but mostly it's Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. They're losing at least 2,500 human beings, beautiful human beings, a week. And I wanted to stop. And some people would say, why do you worry about Russian soldiers or Ukrainian soldiers? I worry because it's like they're just like you people. They're like us. They're like all of us.
He said to the reporters inside the Oval Office on Monday. TikTok has made its comeback to the US app stores of Apple and Google following President Donald Trump's postponement of a ban on the Chinese-owned video sharing platform. And as a result, millions of users in the United States can once again download and update the app. TikTok has denied that it has or ever would share US user data.
We do not promote or remove content at the request of the Chinese government.
CEO of Baton Hall and social media expert Drew Benvey said Oracle is set to become the potential new owner of a portion of TikTok in the United States. According to various reports, Oracle is a long-established and reputable technology firm.
It's a data infrastructure company. So Oracle is mainly known as holding data on vast servers. And the deal is, according to sources, going to be about Oracle looking after the data security of US TikTok users. And that was really the chief concern of the Trump administration, which is bringing about this forced divestiture, this forced sale.
In January, the app experienced a temporary blackout just prior to the implementation of a law that mandated its owner ByteDance. On 20th January, Trump issued an executive order that postponed the enforcement of the law for a period of 75 days. Other countries have already banned the app. Poland's defense minister said on Monday Poland and the United States signed an agreement worth nearly $2 billion for the delivery of logistical support for the Patriot air defense system. Poland is ramping up its defense capabilities, positioning itself as a key player on NATO's eastern flank in the face of an assertive Russia and also of a U.S. administration under Donald Trump that has sharply criticized Europe over security matters. The agreement with the U.S. concerns the delivery of logistical support for the Patriot system within the armed forces and includes technical support components as well as training. Poland's defense ministry said implementing the agreement would enable the operational readiness of Patriot launchers, which form the foundation of the Whistler program. It aims to counter, among other things, short-range tactical ballistic missiles, including maneuvering missiles. Spurred by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Poland has become NATO's top spender in terms of the proportion of its national wealth devoted to defense. Warsaw said it will spend 4.1% of gross domestic product on defense in 2024, with a pledge to increase this to 4.7% in 2025. A criminal court in Paris found French far-right nationalist politician Marine Le Pen guilty in an embezzlement case on Monday. German press agency reported a sentence has not yet been handed down, and it remains unclear how the verdict might impact her political career. Furthermore, alongside a prison term and a monetary penalty, the prosecution has requested that Le Pen be prohibited from running for election for a duration of 5 years. The primary allegation against her was that Le Pen's National Rally Party improperly received funds from the European Parliament intended for parliamentary assistants who were, in reality, either partially or entirely employed by the party. The case was viewed as a major setback in Le Pen's efforts to normalize the party's image. A total of 28 defendants were accused in the case, which is said to involve a sum of almost 7 million euro. The allegations, which relate to the years 2004 to 2016, have dogged Le Pen and her party for years. The Asian Development Bank ADB announced on Monday that it has successfully issued bonds worth $1.14 billion. This achievement provides significant funding to support its development projects for both government and private sector borrowers. The 3-year bond issue, the bank's largest panda bonds to date and released on 17th March, carry a 1.81% coupon. The panda bonds are part of the ADB's ongoing efforts to diversify its funding sources and tap into the growing pool of local currency capital in Asia and the Pacific. The funds raised will be used to finance a range of projects aimed at promoting inclusive and sustainable development for the ADB's members. The latest panda bonds underscores the robust demand for high-quality, sustainable investment opportunities in the Chinese bond market. Following over 9 months of being stranded in space, 2 American astronauts announced on Monday their readiness to launch once more aboard a Boeing Starliner, the same spacecraft that failed to bring them back to Earth. During their initial NASA press conference since their eagerly anticipated splashdown on 18th March, astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams addressed inquiries regarding their willingness to fly with Boeing again.
But I think that is already the plan because there will be new components added to the spacecraft, right, or replaced on the spacecraft. And so we'd really like to test that out, see how that works. So, you got to take a step back and look at what tests we could do to prove out those new parts, or do we do another uncrewed mission and see how that works out and see how everything responds to the additions that we make. So I think that's just probably a smart, wise idea.
Wilmore and Williams, the first crew to ride Boeing's faulty Starliner spacecraft last summer, spent days undergoing routine medical checks by NASA's astronaut office after returning to Earth on a SpaceX capsule in March and before they reunited with their families. The 2 astronauts plan to meet with Boeing leaders on Wednesday. In sports, Mensik denies Djokovic 100th career title. Czech teenager Jakub Mensik upset Novak Djokovic 7-6, 7-6 to win the Miami Open at Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday, denying the Serb his 100th career title. The 19-year-old, ranked 54th in the world, claimed his first title on the ATP Tour with an outstanding display of powerful tennis. Chelsea recorded a pre-tax profit before taxation of £128.4 million for the year ending in June, despite a fall in revenue thanks to the repositioning of their women's team. The profit, which was also helped by the disposal of player registrations, comes after a loss of £90.1 million in the previous year to June, which was the first under the ownership of the consortium led by Todd Bowley. The women's team passed from Chelsea FC Holdings Limited to Blueco Bowleys Consortium last June, removing any losses associated with Chelsea women from the club accounts and Chelsea Holdings benefiting from the sum that Blueco paid. The profit on disposal of subsidiaries was £198.7 million, while the profit on disposal of player registrations came to £152.5 million. Chelsea's overall revenue fell from £512.5 million in 2023 to £468.5 million, which the club said was due to the men's team not competing in the Champions League. The club's broadcasting receipts increased thanks to their sixth place finish in their Premier League, along with decent cup runs. And there was also a fall in operational costs and growth in commercial and matchday revenue. Manchester City were dealt a major blow on Monday with leading scorer Erling Haaland set for a spell on the sidelines after suffering an ankle injury as the season reaches its climax. The 24-year-old Norwegian was injured in Sunday's 2-1 FA Cup quarter-final win at Bournemouth. Having just scored his 30th goal of the season to level the tie, he was then hurt in a challenge with Bournemouth midfielder Lewis Cook. The Premier League champions did not provide a timescale for the player's return. Haaland had underwent initial tests in Manchester on Monday morning and will now seek specialist consultation to confirm the full extent of the injury. City are currently fifth in the Premier League and battling to ensure a spot in the Champions League next season. Pep Guardiola's side face matches against Leicester and Manchester United this week. They then have a visit from Crystal Palace and a trip to Everton before their FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest at Wembley on 26 April. A Peruvian football game took an unexpected turn on Saturday when a referee defended himself by kicking an individual who rushed to attack him during a Peru Cup match in the Ancash region. The clash occurred in the coastal city of Casma in Ancash during a game between Sport Huaquila and Magdalena Sedek in the Casma Distrital League. According to media accounts, referee Luis Alegre found himself under threat after expelling a Magdalena player when a man ran towards him with a plastic bottle in hand, aiming to attack him. The security staff intervened to avoid further clashes and the game was suspended after the incident. And that wraps up World Today this afternoon. In our top story, firefighters evacuate residents living nearby burst gas pipeline blaze as fire rages on. Do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 or saluran Berita RTM for more news. Alternatively, you can stream us live on RTM Click's website and mobile apps. I'm Renee Fong. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Goodbye and Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf Zahir Batin.